everyone, I'm Flannery Winchester, CCL's Communications Coordinator. I'm here today with a media tip about finding a hook. This media tip will help you pitch local reporters and send press releases more effectively, so you can hopefully get more stories written about your chapter's activities and members. So, as an example, let's say you have 3 members of your chapter attending the CCL conference in Washington, D.C. this June. You want to write up a press release or reach out to a reporter you know and see if they'll write a story. But just because we think it's worth a story doesn't mean that a reporter will necessarily agree. So how can we convince them? You need a hook. Just like it sounds, a hook is an opening line that will catch the reporter and reel him or her in. This compelling sentence or two will get the reporter's attention and increase the likelihood that they'll write something about your chapter. So what makes a good hook? Let's take a look at 3 elements. First, you want to make sure that your hook is unique. So what's unique about your members going to Washington? Are some of them conservative? Are some of them business owners or leaders in the community? Do some of them have an interesting family story that causes them to care especially about climate change? Or maybe there's a unique element of your chapter as a whole. For example, has your chapter hosted major events in the community or done a creative art project? Is your chapter full of politically engaged young people, which breaks the mold of people's expectations? Or perhaps the unique element isn't the people at all, but the local impacts of climate change. Did your city experience wildfires, drought, or extreme weather this year? Go ahead and pause this video and jot down a few unique things about your volunteers, your chapter, or your city as it relates to climate change. Next, you want to make sure that your hook is specific. So something like local climate advocate goes to Washington is a little too broad and vague to be an effective hook. Once you've identified the features that make your volunteers unique, craft a hook that includes those details. For example, 3 of Nashville's Republican voters buck party line and travel to DC to work on climate change. That's intriguing. Another example might be Jane's daughter has asthma, so she's lobbying Representative Smith to fight climate change and clean up our air. If it's about your chapter, it could be something like, after gathering 500 letters to Representative Smith about climate change, 3 local voters will meet with him in DC on June 12th. If it's about your city, your hook could be something like, California was devastated by wildfires this year, driven by climate change. Jane, who lost her home in the fires, is taking matters into her own hands by meeting with Representative Smith on June 12th. And finally, you want to make sure that your hook is revealing. Get to the good part early. Once you've identified your hook, put it early in the email or the press release. This will catch a reporter's attention better than an email or press release that starts with a full paragraph about the background of CCL or about carbon fee and dividend. So, on CCL Community, we've provided a press release template that encourages you to include your hook in the first few sentences. As you can see here, we've highlighted some sections that you can fill in with your unique, specific information. And after you've hooked them, the press release goes on to provide additional backstory that may be helpful, more information about the June conference and lobbying, and about CCL in general. And here's a quick look at how to access the press release template and some other resources. On CCL Community, click on Take Action there at the top, and then on the left sidebar, click Send a Press Release. Then that will bring you to this page. You want to click on the Resources tab, and there you'll find a link to the press release template. If you want to take a peek at the Learn tab as well, you'll find an earlier media tip that explains more about how to craft and send press releases. So, it's a good idea to come up with a hook anytime you plan to reach out to a reporter or send a press release. If you need help coming up with one or crafting a press release, don't hesitate to reach out to me at Flannery@citizensclimate.org or to Communications Director Steve Valk at steve@citizensclimate.org. Thanks for tuning in and good luck.